I caught her in the alley behind the church, still wearing her bridesmaid dress, on top of a man who collects garbage for a living. It was the night before our wedding. My fiancée. My whole family was inside celebrating at the rehearsal dinner, and she was outside with a sanitation worker, laughing, moaning, ruining everything. She saw me standing there, and she said, "You weren't supposed to see that." There were 76 guests inside the church banquet hall. My mother was doing that thing where she tells embarrassing childhood stories, and my father was already 2 bourbons in. People were laughing, toasting, taking photos. I stood in the corner, watching my future walk around in a lilac dress, hugging relatives she barely knew. Her name was Madison. She looked flawless. We'd been together for 4 years. Met in college. Lived together for 2. I'd proposed in front of her favorite lake in Vermont. She cried. Said yes. Told me I was the best man she ever met. That night, I felt sick. Not nerves, something worse. Like I was being watched by fate. I stepped outside to get air. That's when I heard it. Muffled laughter. Heavy breathing. Rustling fabric. I walked toward the alley behind the church kitchen where the dumpsters sat. No one would be back there. Except, there they were. Madison, bent over a crate. Behind her, a man in a stained sanitation vest, pants halfway down, boots covered in black street grime. His truck was still idling on the curb, hazard lights blinking like a sick joke. She looked back. Saw me. Didn't scream. Didn't run. Just said, "You weren't supposed to see that." He zipped up and jogged off without a word. Left her there. She pulled down her dress slowly, calmly, brushing her hair behind her ear like nothing happened. I couldn't move. I felt like I'd stepped outside my own body. "Listen," she said, walking toward me. "I messed up. I panicked. It doesn't have to mean anything. You cheated on me. Behind a church. With a garbage man." She laughed. Actually laughed. "He's not a garbage man. He's a sanitation tech. There's a difference." I didn't know what to say. My mouth just opened and closed like I'd forgotten how to breathe. She reached out, touched my arm. "You don't have to do this. Just walk back in. Tomorrow still happens. No one has to know." I stepped back. She scoffed. "Well, I always thought you were soft. But this is just pathetic. Grow up." That broke something in me. I didn't tell anyone. I didn't crash the dinner. I just walked to my car, sat there for 3 hours, and then drove to a motel off the highway. She texted me that night. "You left? Seriously?" And then, "You're going to regret this." She was right, but not in the way she thought. I came back to our apartment just after sunrise. I hadn't slept. I hadn't eaten. My wedding suit was still hanging in the back seat of my car, untouched. I sat on the edge of the bed, staring at the floor like it could somehow tell me what to do next. Then the text started. "You're seriously blowing this out of proportion. Are you really going to ruin everything over one mistake? I didn't think you were this fragile." I didn't answer. I couldn't. 2 hours later, she walked in, still in that lilac bridesmaid dress. No apology on her face. No shame in her step. Just annoyance. "Are you done sulking?" she asked, tossing her clutch on the kitchen counter like she owned the place. I didn't respond. I didn't even look at her. She walked over and stood in front of me, arms crossed. "Look, what you saw last night, it wasn't supposed to happen. But it did. You can either grow up and move on, or you can throw away everything for a moment of weakness." I opened my mouth, trying to speak, but the words stuck in my throat. She smiled. "You really thought I was perfect, didn't you? That's your problem. You put people on pedestals because you're too scared to admit they're just people." I shook my head. "You were with a garbage man behind a church. The night before our wedding. He's a sanitation worker," she corrected. "And honestly, he listens better than you ever did." That one hit deep. I still didn't yell. I still didn't cry. I just asked, "Why?" She laughed. "Because I could. Because you let me. You worshipped me like I was a prize you won, not a person. That gets boring." Her eyes scanned the room. The apartment we decorated together. The ring box still open on the nightstand. "You're so easy to control," she added, almost with pity. "You'd still marry me if I asked. That's the worst part." And she was right. Some pitiful part of me still wanted to fix it. To believe this was salvageable. That she'd cry, beg, admit she messed up. But she didn't cry. She stood tall, walked to the door, and before leaving, turned back and said, "Tomorrow, I'll be at the church. If you're not there, people will know something's wrong. That's your call." Then she left, like nothing happened. And I sat there, alone, broken, humiliated, Still stupid enough to wonder if there was something I could have done differently. Still weak enough to want her back. But something else was starting to move inside me. Something cold. Something sharp. I didn't sleep that night. Just sat in the dark with my suit still hanging by the door, untouched. Her dress shoes were still near the couch. She hadn't even bothered to pick them up. That was the moment I stopped feeling heartbroken and started feeling dangerous. She thought I'd show up at the church like nothing happened. She thought I'd protect her image. She thought I'd be predictable. She was right about one thing. I was weak. But she forgot what weak men become when they're pushed too far. I opened my laptop. Started with the guest list. Names, emails, connections. Her parents, her boss, her colleagues from the HR firm. I copied every contact I could find. Her bridesmaids. My groomsmen. The wedding photographer. Then I opened her social media. Screenshot after screenshot. Selfies of her hugging me at our engagement party. Quotes about loyalty. Her pinned tweet. Honesty is everything. I kept scrolling. And then I found it. A hidden album in her phone cloud. It wasn't protected. She'd linked her phone to our shared drive months ago and forgot to remove access. Inside? Selfies. Her and him. Him in his filthy green uniform. Her sitting on his lap in the front seat of his truck. Her hair messy. Her lipstick smudged. Dates and locations matched the night she told me she was working late. There were 8 different locations. Some behind strip malls. One near a landfill. Another in a dark parking lot beside a discount tire shop. And I realized this wasn't one mistake. This was a pattern. A routine. She'd been using me for security, money, comfort, and using him for whatever that was. By 3 a.m., I had a folder labeled Truth. It had screenshots, photos, messages, calendar dates, and even receipts from restaurants she said she went to with friends, while GPS showed her phone parked at some industrial zone. I was building a case. Not for court. For war. And I wasn't going to send it to her. I was going to send it to everyone who thought she was something sacred. The guests. The pastor. Her HR department. But first, I wanted her to feel calm. Safe. So I sent one message. Just one. Don't worry. I'll be at the church. She replied 2 minutes later. I knew you'd come around. She had no idea what was coming. And I was done warning her. The morning of the wedding, I woke up at 6 a.m. No ceremony nerves. No excitement. Just focus. I ironed my shirt, tied my tie, shaved. Played the role. My groomsmen texted. I told them I'd meet them there. Madison's mom called twice. I didn't answer. By 9:15, I was at the church. Everyone was there. The florist was arranging the centerpieces. The pianist was warming up. Guests were arriving early. Madison was already in the bridal suite, according to her cousin. Probably sipping champagne. Laughing. Thinking she won. She didn't know what I had done at 2 a.m. while she was dreaming about posing for Instagram photos in her wedding dress. I had scheduled an email. One email. To the entire guest list. It was time to hit inboxes at exactly 10 a.m., 30 minutes before the ceremony. The subject line, before you watch me say, I do. Inside was a simple message. Thank you all for coming. Before you take your seats, I wanted you to know who you're celebrating. Then the photos. Madison with the sanitation worker. Her in his lap. Her kissing him in a parking lot behind a dumpster. Receipts. Timestamps. Screenshots of messages she sent him flirty, cruel, bragging about how I'd never find out. At exactly 10:03, the noise started. First a whisper. Then a ripple. Then a storm. People were checking their phones. Gasps. Phones being shoved into others' hands. I stood near the side entrance, watching the energy shift like a storm front rolling through a quiet village. Madison's father stormed past me, red in the face. Her mother ran into the bridal suite. 10 minutes later, her bridesmaids came out, 3 of them. The 4th was crying. Her cousin was yelling into her phone. He sent it to my boss, Lisa. My boss. At 10:22, Madison appeared. Still in her dress. Still trying. Her makeup was perfect. Her hair pinned back with jeweled combs. She walked down the aisle alone. No music, toward the altar, where I was standing, waiting. She leaned in, whispered through clenched teeth, You think this makes you smart? I smiled. Everyone knows now, I said quietly. You don't get to pretend anymore. She looked around. The seats were half empty. People were walking out. Her uncle pointed at her and shook his head. My mother looked away. You'll regret this, she hissed. I leaned in close. I already regret you. And then I walked away. Down the steps, past the pews, out the door. She stood alone, in a $1,000 dress, in front of empty chairs, with a church full of people who would never see her the same again. I thought I had ended her. I thought the email would be the knockout punch, the kind you don't recover from. Who cheats the night before the wedding and still comes out clean? Apparently, Madison does. It started 3 days later. I was laying low, ignoring texts, letting my family handle the questions. I thought the silence meant she'd vanished, that she'd crawled into whatever hole cheaters disappear into after exposure. But Madison wasn't hiding. She was regrouping. The first post went up on her Instagram, a black and white photo of her, hair down, no makeup, looking damaged but strong. Caption: what people don't see is the pain behind the smile. Sometimes good people make bad decisions, but no one deserves to be humiliated for being human. 24 hours. 50,000 likes. Comments full of hearts. Stay strong. You're so brave. We've all made mistakes. She didn't mention me once. Didn't need to. She let everyone else do the storytelling. A day later, she posted a video. Crying. Voice shaking. Yes, I made a mistake. A terrible one. But he didn't just end the wedding. He tried to end me. She talked about emotional manipulation. About being trapped in a relationship that looked perfect but felt empty. She said I weaponized loyalty and collected evidence like a predator waiting to strike. And it worked. Her followers doubled. She started getting podcast invites, blog interviews. Even local TV reached out. Her story was being told, without me. And every version of it painted her as the one trying to escape someone toxic. Me. Then the real damage came. My job. Someone sent the video to HR at my office. Said I was mentioned in an abuse narrative currently going viral. No names were used. But it didn't matter. They put me on leave. Pending review. No one said it was connected to the wedding. But everyone knew. The way people looked at me changed. Like they were trying to figure out if I really was who she described. I tried to fight back. Posted the screenshots again. The photos. The proof. No one cared. You shouldn't have aired your relationship like that. Someone commented. That's private. Another said, 2 wrongs don't make a right. She cheated. Lied. Humiliated me. But now I was the one being shamed. I lost control of the story. And Madison? She was glowing. She'd turned betrayal into branding. Pain into profit. And I was just another bitter ex in the comments. She won that round. No question. But as I sat alone in that empty apartment, scrolling through her smiling posts, one thing gave me comfort. I wasn't done. I stopped trying to fight her online. That was her turf, filters, sympathy, curated pain in a perfectly lit bedroom with fairy lights. I was never going to beat her there. But reality? Reality was still mine. I started quiet. First, I reached out to a friend of hers from college, Bridget. We'd never been close, but she liked me. I knew because she once told Madison, you better not screw this one up. So I called her. Didn't ask for help. Just told her what happened. The full, uncut version. Bridget didn't say much. Just, send me the photos. An hour later, she unfollowed Madison on everything. So did 2 other girls from that circle. Small ripple. But it spread. Next, I tracked down the guy. The sanitation worker. His name was Kyle. I knew because his name was on one of the receipts Madison had emailed him while logged into our shared food app account. She never logged out. He had no idea what happened. I found him behind a liquor store downtown, loading bins into the truck. You Kyle. He turned. Looked cautious. I didn't yell. Didn't swing. Just said, she used you. He blinked. What? I showed him the screenshots. The ones where she called him her dirty little thrill. The one where she said, he's dumb, but he's built like a fridge. I didn't need him to do anything. But his face said enough. Next day, he unfollowed her too. Then made his account private. She posted a story that night, just text. It's always the weakest ones who try to turn others against you. She knew I was moving again. That I wasn't just licking my wounds. I was learning. So I hit her where it really hurt. Her sponsor. She just signed a deal with a local women's wellness brand, selling organic supplements and yoga mats. I emailed them anonymously. Attached the original wedding evidence. Explained the timeline. The public fallout. The viral backlash. The private photos. Their response? We take our brand integrity seriously. We appreciate the heads up. 3 days later, Madison's sponsored posts were gone. No more links in her bio. No more promo codes. She lost the deal. Then the studio where she recorded her new podcast quietly pulled the episodes. Said they were reevaluating guest content for alignment. 2 hits. No noise. No warning. She posted a video soon after. No tears this time. Just anger. You think you're destroying me, she said. But all you're doing is proving why I left. It got views. Sure. But the comments weren't the same. More neutral ones. A few skeptical. One said, I loved your stuff, but this is starting to feel one-sided. She was slipping. And I wasn't done. I didn't want to win publicly. I wanted her to feel alone in the one place she thought she was invincible. Her spotlight. I should have seen it coming. I thought I was 2 steps ahead. Thought I'd cut her off from her following, her sponsors, her cell-made platform. But Madison wasn't done. She was never playing just one game. She was building something while I was tearing it down. Her next move wasn't a post. It was a lawsuit. A formal letter arrived at my door, hand-delivered. Thick envelope. Legal firm logo embossed in silver. The same firm she'd interned with back in college. Defamation. Harassment. Emotional damages. I stood in the hallway for a full minute after opening it, heartbeat hammering through my shirt. Inside the letter was a list, pages long, of every post, every screenshot, every traceable email that could be linked back to me. She'd hired someone to document everything, even anonymous tips. Metadata, timestamps, server locations. I read the phrase malicious intent 4 times on the first page alone. She was playing the victim card on a whole new level now, and the worst part? Legally, she had a case. She didn't need to prove I lied, just that I'd ruined her ability to make a living. And I had. Between the brand drop and the studio pulling her podcast, she'd lost real money. She was suing for $75,000. I didn't even have $7,500. I didn't tell anyone. I was too embarrassed. I tried to get free legal help. A cousin of a friend offered advice, but nothing more. The best I could do was stall it. Push deadlines. Hope she'd drop it. But she didn't. She posted a statement next, this time on LinkedIn. I've taken legal action against the harassment that's followed me since leaving a toxic relationship. I stayed silent to protect people. But I deserve peace. It went viral. Not the kind of viral that trends on Twitter. The kind that opens doors. 2 weeks later, she was featured in a national women's magazine. The headline read, From survivor to speaker, Madison tells her truth. She got signed to an agency. Started booking talks. TEDx. Workshops. Corporate keynotes on healing after coercion. I watched a clip. Her standing in front of a microphone, perfectly composed. I wasn't perfect. But I was punished like I was a monster. My only crime was trying to breathe. Crowd erupted in applause. I felt sick. She was winning again. And this time, she had power. Lawyers. A public audience. A brand. I was the villain in a story I didn't write. I was drowning in a war I started. But then, in the middle of her rise, something slipped. Not in public. Not online. In real life. I didn't even notice it at first. But it would be the crack that let everything fall through. The lawsuit was real. The articles were real. Her face on magazine covers, podcast thumbnails, workshop flyers, it was all real. But her past? That's what she couldn't polish. I started digging. Not online. Not in headlines. But in old files, dusty corners, forgotten threads she never expected anyone to pull. And I found it. In 2019, Madison worked briefly as a temp HR assistant at a mid-sized tech firm in the city. She told everyone she left to pursue purpose. But she didn't leave. She was terminated. I called an old contact, Ben. We'd worked together briefly at a conference. He now handled contracts for that same firm. I didn't even have to lie. I said, I'm vetting someone for a potential business opportunity. I noticed a gap in her employment history. Mind checking. An hour later, he texted me. You sure about this girl? She was fired. Internal ethics violation. Something about leaked personnel records. I told him I'd follow up. And I did. I filed a public information request. That firm had been under contract with the local government at the time, which made some of their reports subject to transparency laws. The termination notice came in a week later. It was short. Direct. Employees shared confidential employee salary information with outside individuals for personal leverage. Terminated immediately. My hands trembled as I read it. This woman, the one giving speeches on workplace healing and emotional integrity, had once leaked employee data to blackmail someone, and then played victim when she got caught. That was my angle. But I didn't go public. Not yet. I sent it, anonymously, to her newest speaking sponsor. A big one. National wellness brand. Family-focused. Squeaky clean image. Subject, due diligence concern regarding upcoming guest. Attached was the termination summary, the timeline, and a copy of her bio where she claimed to have left corporate life to find her voice. I didn't get a response, but 3 days later, her name was pulled from their speaker lineup. Quietly. No announcement. Just gone. She knew something happened. That same night, she posted a cryptic message. You think you're untouchable until the past knocks. I've grown. But some people won't let you evolve. Then she went dark. No posts. No stories. No new episodes. No email newsletters. Sponsors? Gone. TEDx? Canceled due to scheduling conflicts. The silence was delicious. I didn't need applause. I didn't need revenge porn. I just needed the truth to do its slow, quiet work. And it did. She'd spent months turning me into a cautionary tale. Now she was unraveling. But I knew Madison. She wouldn't let this be the end. She'd claw back. And she did. One last time. I thought she was finished. After losing the sponsor, the event gigs, and going silent for almost 2 weeks, I thought I'd finally shut her down for good. But Madison doesn't go down. She rebrands. She came back with a vengeance. Not with another sob story. Not with tears. With control. A full production. New brand name. New website, new photo shoot in a high-rise loft with exposed brick and eucalyptus in the background. She wasn't the broken woman healing. She was now the resilient strategist. The new platform? REMAP realignment. Empowerment. Mindset. Accountability. Power. She was offering consulting now. For corporate teams. Workshops on navigating trauma-informed workplaces. It sounded like nonsense, but HR departments ate it up. I watched her calendar fill with paid events. I saw a feature article on a professional network platform titled, From Scandal to Strategy, How One Woman Reclaimed Her Power. They never mentioned my name, but everyone knew. I became a footnote in her rise. Again, and then the court notice arrived. Her lawyer had filed a motion to proceed with damages. They weren't bluffing anymore. They were coming for real money, or whatever was left of mine. I sat in my kitchen, half-empty fridge humming behind me, phone buzzing with calls I didn't want to answer. This was it. My last round. And she was walking away with the title. She'd survived exposure, profited from pity, transformed herself twice. And now she had the law on her side. She won. She won. Until I opened my laptop. One unread message in my inbox. No subject. No name. Just a link. At first, I hesitated. Thought it was spam. But curiosity overruled everything. I clicked. It was a download folder. Inside? For video files. All time-stamped. All recorded within a 2-week window. Madison. Sitting at a table. Talking to someone off-screen. Bragging. Honestly, the lawsuit's just pressure. I don't expect to win. I just want to keep him too busy to come at me again. Next clip. That company was a joke anyway. If they'd done a proper background check, I'd never have gotten in. Their loss. Third clip. Oh. And that healing after abuse workshop? I used ChatGPT to write the outline. Haven't read a single book on trauma. And the final one. She's laughing. Glass of wine in hand. People are stupid. Give them a few buzzwords and cry on camera. They'll buy anything. I stared at the screen. Shaking. It was real. Someone had recorded her. Someone close. And now? Now I had it. The one thing that could destroy everything. I didn't know who sent it. But I knew what I had. I didn't sleep that night. I watched those videos over and over, Madison laughing, gloating, mocking the very people who had carried her to the top. She looked so calm, so sure that no one would ever see behind the curtain. And now? Now I held the curtain rope. All I had to do was pull. I drafted the emails. To her agency. To the companies she consulted for. To the wellness blogs that praised her recovery journey. I attached the clips. Labeled them clearly. Added timestamps, transcripts, quotes. I was surgical. Precise. No emotion. Just evidence. Truth, in its most unforgiving form. Then I uploaded the files to a cloud folder and generated the link. All that was left was to hit send. I stared at the screen. Mouse hovering. One click, and her whole world crumbled. I didn't hesitate. I clicked. But before the emails could go out, something unexpected happened. My phone rang. Private number. I let it go to voicemail. Then it rang again. And again. Then came the message. From her. Please don't. I froze. Another message came in, this time a voice note. Her voice was shaking, strained. Not the performance voice. The real one. The one I hadn't heard since before the lies, before the wedding, before the alley. I know what you have. I know what I said. I don't know who sent it to you, but please, please don't release it. Pause. Then quieter. You'll destroy everything. Not just my work, my family, my future. Please. I'm begging you. I'll do anything. I didn't respond. Then I heard it, a knock at the door. I looked through the peephole. Madison. No camera crew. No makeup. No phone. Just her. Crying. She sank to her knees on my doorstep. Hands folded. Shoulders trembling. I'm sorry, she whispered. I was wrong. You didn't deserve any of it. I treated you like a fool because I thought you'd never fight back. I thought I'd never pay for it. But please, don't destroy me. She looked up at me. Eyes swollen. Makeup streaked. I'll disappear. I'll stop everything. I'll never speak your name again. Just don't release it. Please. I opened the door slowly. Stood there in silence. And then I did the last thing she expected. I deleted the folder. Right in front of her. Gone. She gasped. Couldn't speak. Her mouth opened, but nothing came out. She knew what I'd just done. I spared her. Not because she deserved it, but because I did. I wasn't her. I wasn't going to burn someone alive just to watch them fall. She stayed there for a long time, crying. And I walked back inside. Closed the door. Sat down in the dark. Let it all wash away. And then I asked myself the only question left. What would you have done in my place?